It's July the 8th, 2011. I'm here with Jimmy Thompson, the best mandolin player in the Toledo area. And I'm Brian English, the worst banjo player in the area that's willing to play in public. And Jimmy's going to talk about the first song that he ever learned.
Well, goes back to Spartanburg, South Carolina. And let's take it back to, oh my goodness, probably in 49, maybe not even 49. Let's see, I would say this goes back to 45, around in that, 45, 44, during World War II. We lived in Spartanburg, South Carolina there, like I say. And my dad ran a store in the black section, like a little carry-out, black section of Spartanburg, for this policeman, Mr. Gresham. And he used to get these 3 black gentlemen on a Saturday to come into the store, and Dad always had a little something to help him out. And these 3 gentlemen were old blues musicians, good musicians, and one played a guitar, and he had a harmonica on a coat hanger rack around his neck that he played, and the other one had a washboard with just about everything in the world he could find that would make any sounds at all nailed to this washboard. And he was the drummer. He was the man that kept the beat for him. And the other black gentleman, Buck Jenkins, I knew his name. The other 2 I don't know the name of. But Buck Jenkins worked in the store and swept up and did odd jobs around the store. And him and Dad were good buddies. And Dad always kept, like I say, a little extra something to give him a swig of once in a while. And Buck played the mandolin and the guitar and tenor banjo. And I would sit there and watch these guys play. And the mandolin just caught my ear. So Buck showed me a few chords on the mandolin. And first he started me out with a G chord. And then he says, "Do it this way, Jim." And I would go over it, and he'd say, do it different. And he'd have me doing that. I can't even do it as good on this mandolin as I could my old Gibson, but strings are a little closer. But anyway, that's the first 4 chords I learned. And then Buck says, he plays Shaney in Old Shaney Town, and I'll just play it. I won't try to sing it in G. But anyway, that's where I learned how to play the mandolin, and I was probably around 12 years old at the time. And I learned to play those chords and play Shanty Town, and much better than I'm playing it right now. And I sat around with those guys, and they would let me play that song with them. 3 old black gentlemen, I'll never forget them. And Buck Jenkins, my mom helped him get his World War I retirement from the government. He was in World War I, but he never got any retirement. And this was in, like I say, around 45, 46, 44, somewhere around in that era, or that year. And he was forever grateful, because back then, the prejudice was a big thing back then. And my folks, they were always good to the blacks down there. And I played with a lot of black kids, which a lot of the white kids didn't like me for that. They didn't like that at all down there at the time. But I never forgot the mandolin, never forgot what he taught me, and how humble that old black gentleman Buck Jenkins is, or was. And if he was here today, he still would be that way. And he always took time with this white kid to help him on the mandolin. He'd show me little tricks, and I didn't have a mandolin at the time, but that stuck with me all through the years. When I went in the Navy in 1952, I was stationed in Newport, Rhode Island, and I went uptown Newport and saw a mandolin in a pawn shop, and went in. It was a Gibson A-style mandolin, and I didn't have the money to pay for it, but the guy put it on layaway for me, and I went out to sea, and I would send money back. I mail money back.
What year was that, Jimmy?
And that was in 53. That was in 53, Brian. And I got that mandolin. And when I came back into port about 6 months later, went up and paid it out. Had a couple of sets of strings, didn't know much about it. Brought it back aboard ship, and I was in what they call a diesel, auxiliary diesel room. I would go in there and strum on that mandolin. And then another fellow, Joseph Connor, from Tennessee, Nyota, Tennessee, and came aboard, and he knew how to tune it and how to show me a few chords on it, a few more chords, and I just kept learning and playing by ear, and anybody that would teach me anything, I just loved the sound of a mandolin, and stuck with me, and that's the reason. Heck, I'm 76 years old today, and I'm still playing the mandolin. I have about 8 of these rascals, and can't play them good, but I play them.
Could you talk about? You said you were in this band on board ship where sometimes you said the captain would show up.
The captain, I'm pretty sure he was from, if I remember right, he's from Alabama. Can't think of his name right now, but we had this little band aboard ship, and this Joseph Connor, we call him, he's a redhead fellow, and I always called him Red Connor. Red. And Red played the guitar, played the mandolin, he just played everything, and he was good. And he took time, and we learned a few songs, and Down Yonder, and Dixie, and stuff like that, and showed me how to play them on the mandolin. He sort of helped me out, and I was eager to learn. I loved the sound of the thing, still do. And then we had 2 Thomas brothers that came aboard the ship from over in Indiana, Terre Haute, Indiana. And one of those guys played a tenor banjo, and the other one played an accordion. And then we had a guy from Maryland that came aboard and played rhythm guitar and sang. And we'd all get together in this little room, this elbow room, in a little barber shop where Joseph Connor was a barber. And we'd play. We was off duty and or in port or out at sea we'd play. And one evening we were playing, and somebody came through the door. I didn't know who it was, and they said, "Mind if I join in?" I said, "No, come on in." And all of a sudden I saw this hat fly down over on this piece of machinery that was in that boiler room, some kind of generator. All the gold I ever saw in the world on it was the captain of the ship I was on, DD-839, USS Power, which was the old World War II destroyer, you know. I was in during the Korean War. And I turned around, and he had a squeeze box, little squeeze box. And the captain started playing. And he was playing music with us. He'd come down whenever we'd play.
You didn't even have to get up and salute him either.
Oh, no, he was just a great guy. He loved music. He bought an amplifier, a big amplifier, and, well, a big PA system is what it was. And when we would refuel from a tanker or take stores on from supply ship, he would hang this big speaker system up on the bridge. Mind you, he'd call all us guys up there, and we would play for the ship, and he'd have rebel flag below the colors of the ship, you know, the bottom one. He'd raise that, and we would play. And these guys would take on the other ship, and they'd come out and sit on the gun turrets and everything else, you know, any of the supply ships or on the deck, clap their hands, play Down Yonder, and all the songs that we knew, you know. Yeah. Just had a great time. But I played all the time I was in the Navy, and then I got out of the Navy, and I still play.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And that's about it. That's.
You think maybe you could play like just one of the songs that you played back then? Like the one that you want. Just one. What's the name of it?
Down Yonder.